Oh, and we are live.
Yay!
Hello, everybody. I am here with iJustine, and we are going to be talking about her book today. So I have a bunch of questions for her. And I would first like to thank Justine for being here. And second, I would like to thank my network, which is Thoughtful Media Group, for setting up this Q&A. So Justine, so we're just going to jump in with some of the questions.
Okay.
So Justine, do you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody about your book?
Yeah, so hello, I'm Justine, and I've been making videos, I feel like, on the internet since, oh my goodness, I wouldn't say the beginning of the internet, but it's been a really long time. So it's been so fun to sort of just, I don't know, get to create sort of this crazy fun world where you get to meet people all around everywhere. So it's been so fun, and thanks for having me. This is so great.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun.
It's gonna be great.
Okay, so we're just going to jump in with some of the questions. I asked you guys a few weeks ago, well, actually a week ago, if you guys had any questions for Justine. So we're going to first, I'm going to ask my questions for her, and then we're going to jump into your guys' questions, which I asked over Twitter and Instagram. So the first question is Justine, what inspired you to write your book?
So it was funny because I always joked about writing a book, mostly because I would write blogs and, it's so different from what I do because I'm such a digital person. And then one day I was talking to my agent, and I was like, I really, really want to write a book. And mostly because I think a lot of people don't understand the process that goes into creating videos and being sort of a personality. And I just wanted to sort of tell the story of how it all came to be, because everyone thought that it was something that just happened overnight, and it's not. And I think I even said this in the book too. It's about you see a band, they'll hit a #1 hit song on the radio, and you're like, oh, that just happened. They came out of nowhere, but they've been touring. They've been, selling albums. They've been selling t-shirts out of the back of their cars. So I just wanted to sort of show that process and sort of give people hope who have no idea what they want to do, that that's okay. You don't have to know. And even now, I don't know what I want to do. It's just, you sort of just figure it out and just find things that you love. And sometimes, you're lucky enough to be able to turn your true passion into a job. So it's been cool.
That is so awesome. It's so inspiring when somebody just wants to share their story, because it's true. It does not happen overnight. It's something that progresses over time. And if you're lucky, it happens overnight, but that's very, very rare.
That's true. And when that happens, tell me all the secrets.
I know, right? Well, the one that comes to mind is Alex from Target, but now I don't even know where he is right now. So
yes.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. But now, people like that, they come overnight, and then it kind of drizzles away. So the real success and real thing really comes over time and really progresses, and that's what makes it stick. So it's really inspiring.
And I'm sure Alex, actually, I think he started a YouTube channel and started making Vines. And I mean, it's just not something that might be on our radar, but I'm pretty sure he started sort of making his own community. So who knows?
That's so awesome, especially because there's so many outlets to express yourself on nowadays. YouTube is a huge one, and then Vine is another huge one because both videos. So I think video communication is also a great way to kind of communicate with people and kind of show them your reactions and everything. I think it's a lovely thing to have.
It is. And I love Instagram because I feel like there's so many people too that there's a language barrier where Instagram is just photos. And I think you can tell such a huge story that way and not have to actually, verbalize anything and have that barrier.
Yeah, definitely. I love Instagram. I'm obsessed with that app.
Me too. It's great.
Okay, so my next question is, since you're such a tech-savvy person today, what has been your favorite electronic to use to date?
My iPhone. I mean, the iPhone has pretty much replaced my computer for the most part. I mean, I really use my computer just for editing. And one day when YouTube decides to let us update thumbnails on mobile, that would be a great day.
That'd be so nice to have.
It's I will carry my computer around just so I can, in case of an emergency and needing to update a thumbnail. It's come on, YouTube. You guys, you can do this.
I know, and it's nice that you can finally update your description on your iPhone, but why not the thumbnail? That's a good thing to do. Come on, they need to get with that.
I know. I think I've been yelling at them for 5 years, but they're working on it. So I think one day.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Yeah, I think my iPhone is my child. I bring it everywhere with me, and I feel kind of lost without it, even though I can make do without it, but it's kind of difficult nowadays.
Yeah, no, it's great. And it's just, you can basically do anything. And it's not just the iPhone. I think mobile technology in general, it really has changed communication. It's changed the way we travel. It's really changed everything.
It really has. And for example,
Speaking
I just
turn mine off.
I had to do that to mine because I'm all of a sudden before you came on, it was making noises. I'm like, probably don't want that there.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, can you tell us a bit of your writing process? Like, did you ever get writer's block?
Yeah, so it was interesting because I am so used to writing like blogs and writing tweets. And when I sat down to really figure out like what is the story that I want to tell, like what is it that I want to put in here? I mean, it started out like I was literally just writing tweets and pretty much 140 characters, kind of like gathering my thoughts. So for me, I was sort of like filling in the blanks between like each tweet, like what happened here. I was going through like Facebook. Basically, I was stalking myself to see what I did, because one of the reasons that I started even posting stuff online was I had a terrible memory, still do. So being able to kind of like go back and see the things that I posted that would spark memories, and I would just kind of try to journal all of that. So it's kind of like a reverse stalking of myself, and then filling in all the blanks, and asking a lot of questions to like my friends and family, like, do you guys remember this, what happened here, like, mom, why did you buy me a computer, why did you buy me a Nintendo when I was 5? So it was a lot of filling in the blanks, and also a lot of like I travel a lot too, so most of it was written on a plane, which was great because I had nowhere to go. I had nothing else to do. And most of the time I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I had to just sit and write. So for me, it was kind of confining myself to one spot, and, working also with the amazing editors. Like she was just the absolute best. And it's just kind of like helping sort of tell that story and just get out what I'm trying to say. I'm like, well, I'm trying to say this. Like, what is the best way to say this? So, it was just a really great collaborative effort. And I don't know, it was really fun, exhausting. Recording the audiobook was actually harder, I think, than writing the book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Had no idea.
Yeah, audiobooks are really hard. Did you know? I just figured this out the other day because I was talking to some other book people. They actually record audiobooks for like fiction works. They take each line that one character says, record all those lines at once, then move on to the next character, record all the. It's insane.
It's crazy, and then you have to put that all together.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I can imagine.
It's crazy. No, but like recording it was exhausting too, and you don't ever realize. I mean, you don't just sit in one place and have to read back everything that you've just written. It's like I wrote this, I've read this so many times, and now I'm reading it out loud, and people are judging how I'm talking. It was just weird. So weird.
That's insane. That's so interesting. And audiobooks are a great way for people who are on the go to listen to books. So I highly recommend anybody go get an audiobook. I know that I listen to them all the time.
Yeah, it's great too, especially if it's not something that you have time to sit down and read. And instead of like listening to the radio or music, I don't know. I love them. It's great.
Oh, definitely. So the next question I have for you is, what was the hardest part of writing your book, and then the most rewarding part of writing your book?
I think probably the hardest part was actually just sitting down and writing. I mean, traveling and doing other stuff, and just I get so sidetracked. So I might sit down to start writing, and then I'm like, I think I'm hungry. I'll go get a snack, forget what I was doing. I'm off, and then I just leave and, I don't know, go to the Apple store and pick up a new hard drive. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to be writing. I think sticking to like the deadlines, I think was very difficult for me too, because as a YouTuber, we don't necessarily have deadlines. We just kind of like, we're just going to do whatever we want. We're going to post videos when we want and share content when it's appropriate. So I think, just knowing that we had to meet deadlines and it was just a whole different process, creating something that, is going to be just, I don't know, it's like a tangible item, not just something that I'm printing out on my printer. So yeah, I think the most rewarding part is going to the meetups and getting to see like kids and see their reaction and be like, this was great, I loved it. And just getting to like hug them and meet them. And I don't know, that was probably the best part, is just the tour was really fun.
Yeah. I remember you came to Old Orchard, which is just about half an hour from my house. And I was going to go, but then something came up and I'm like, next time.
I know. I really want to do a second leg of the tour and then do like international, but it's exhausting. I'm like, I don't know how bands tour.
So hard, like just smiling, and like it's so nice to meet everybody, but after a while my cheeks always hurt. I don't know how you do it so like often.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, and you don't even realize it until after it's done, and you're just like, yeah, it's amazing. It's like you don't realize that because like we just sit in our rooms and make videos, and then you're like, wait, there's actual people watching. These are real people. You get to see them, so it's really cool.
It's so cool, definitely. So
Mhm.
the next question is, out of all the 14 chapters of your book, which was the most meaningful for you to write?
Oh man, most meaningful. I think actually the last sort of paragraph for me kind of sums up everything. And I guess I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, I've met so many people in my life, and I think just trying to sum that up and even like going through and writing this book kind of was making like I don't know, just like a chart of how I've met people and how they've impacted my life. You know, somebody that I met years and years ago that I went to high school with, even, you know, talking about like Steve, who I kicked from the very beginning, who's now like one of my good friends. I think it's just kind of like charting out those friendships and seeing how people have impacted my life and how I've impacted their life, and how you just have to be nice to people. You know, I mean, there's no reason to be mean, and you don't know when someone is going to come back in your life and it's going to impact you for the better or impact you for the worse. And I think kind of just summing that all up in sort of the last little bit was really powerful for me. And just, I don't know, I just want people to be nice. I don't understand like why you have to be mean, you
Yeah.
know?
It's really true, and there's like this hashtag. I forgot exactly what it was, but it's called "Use Social Media for Good," and it's like how you should use it for positivity rather than negativity. So always
Yeah.
like it's a really good lesson. Like just be nice and be kind to people and everything.
Yeah.
It's really good, and like that definitely is cool. Like the last paragraph is like the most, like rewarding also to write, because you're like, that's the last part of the book. Like everything, all the hard work and stuff has come to the end, but then it's like this whole entire thing that's like feels so rewarding that you've done.
And I have this really bad habit of when I read books, I go and read the last page.
Me too. I do it too.
So I wanted someone else that might do something like that to be like, all right, okay, this is good. If I don't read anything else, I read this one paragraph and that's great. So.
I do that. I sometimes actually, if it's a book that I've been waiting for a long time, like recently the series called the Mortal Instruments series came to an end after like 6 books, and I had to tape the last, I think 50 pages together so I wouldn't flip over, because I needed to know who was going to die, like what would happen to these characters that I've loved for the past like 5 years. Like I needed to know, and I had to tape it together because I just couldn't read the last bit.
I know, and I'll like go through and I'm just like looking for keywords, and then like, okay, I got to just start from the beginning. That's why I do really like audiobooks, because I mean, you're listening to it straight through and that's it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I recently just drove from Scotland to England a few weeks ago, and I listened to an audiobook, all 11 hours of it, and it flew by like that. Audiobooks,
oh my gosh. They are. I'll even like listening to the audiobook while reading sometimes, because I'm really bad at sort of like comprehending. So I'm like, if I really am trying to get this, like I'll listen to the audio and read. So I love it.
It's so much fun. Okay, so now I have like a little fun game for us to play. Well, it's mostly for you, because I bet people are wondering like, what's your favorite book? So our question is, name your favorite book and describe it in 3 words.
Okay, 3 words. So a friend of mine actually bought me this book before I went and was traveling. It's called Let the Great World Spin. Oh man, 3 words though to sum it up. It is awesome.
That's a good 3 words.
I know. And I started reading and I'm like, this is such a strange book. Like I wasn't really getting into it. And then I started just sort of reading it while I was sort of writing my book. Really helped me, because it talks about how people are interconnected, and it just sort of goes through this process of how a lot of people don't know each other in sort of this very similar circle, but how each person sort of impacts one thing that leads to another. So I don't know. I love this book. I actually started reading it a second time, and I think it's just amazing.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, that was a good answer. Oh my gosh.
Yay. It is awesome.
It is awesome. That's like, I always say, the words I say way too often when I'm reviewing a book, it is awesome, it is amazing, and I loved it. I say it way too often. I try to figure out other words for it, but I'm like, those really just like sum up how a book is. Like it is awesome, it's amazing, and I loved it. So the next question is, it's kind of for the community I'm a part of, and that is, have you ever heard of BookTube before? It's a mix between YouTube and books.
Yes. So one of my good friends, Josh Sundquist, I met him a long time ago. And so he's an author, and he was like telling me whenever he had his first book out, about, the YouTube community and the book community. And I think it's awesome, because what I love so much about YouTube is the communities. There are people for absolutely anything. You know, I mean, do you like knitting? Okay, guess what? There's a knitting community here. And I think it's just so amazing and so powerful that no matter what you like and what you're passionate about, it's here on YouTube. So it's so cool.
It's so neat. And like something that like is interesting is like how they could just blow up all of a sudden. Like BookTube was pretty, there was a community here for quite a while, but it wasn't until like 2 to 3 years ago where it really blew up. And I think that we owe a lot of the success of it to like book movie adaptations that have come out, because a lot of people have started reading again with that, and that is just so amazing. But the communities on YouTube are just fantastic. There really is one for every single person out there. So if people are having trouble like finding their community, like they will find it. It's just like a matter of time. Or make their own. That'd be really cool.
Exactly, because if there's something that you like, I mean, there might not be that many people that are into it, but there is definitely somebody. And I think that's just, you know, finding that community. Even for me growing up, you know, finding people that loved the internet and loved technology was, I mean, that was life-changing for me. You know, just being able to realize something that I liked, other people were really into as well. So yeah, if there's not a community there, make one and they will come.
Yes. So the next question is something that I'm always curious about as a reader, and that is, did you have any say when it came to your book cover? Like, I know that you did a photo shoot for it and this was the final cover. Did you get to pick the final cover for it, or was it somebody else who did?
I did. So my good friend who has shot a lot of stuff for me, and I did the show with AOL called Hardwired, and he shot like that whole thing, and he's just super talented. I was like, I want you to shoot the book cover. So he shot that. One of my best friends who's a makeup artist did the hair and makeup, and she also ended up sort of styling the cover too. She's like super creative. So she was like, okay, let's do this. So she turned into like the art director. My manager went and got like all these computers. So it was like one day we just spent in the studio taking tons of photos, and I don't know, we actually took this picture as a joke. Like
really?
I was like, no, I'm not going to, okay, fine, I'll dress up like Steve Jobs just to see what it looks like. And then we got the pictures back. I was like, oh, this encompasses pretty much everything that I've sort of been doing up to this point. And I don't know, it just, I loved it. Everyone loved it. I was like, great. And then when I first tweeted the book cover, the response was really positive. So I was like, okay, we did a good job, guys.
Yeah. Did you hear about the new Steve Jobs movie that's coming out?
Yes, it's going to be interesting. The guy that they have playing Steve, I feel like I actually loved the last Steve Jobs movie. Well, I think Ashton Kutcher did a really good job playing Steve. He actually was living like Steve for, I think it was like a year or two before he shot the movie. Like would eat what Steve Jobs would eat, would live like he would. So he really was like getting into that character. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see the movie. And I just think it's no one will ever be able to sort of, I think, tell his story really, because it's just, I don't know. It's just a very unique one.
Did you ever meet Steve Jobs? I'm not sure if you did or.
No, I didn't, unfortunately. I almost met him, but then he just like ran away. I was like, okay, bye.
But I thought it was interesting that they're making another Steve Jobs movie, because I was in the movie theater about to watch Magic Mike's XXL, actually.
Oh my God.
I'm such a girl about that. I was about to watch it, and then I saw like a bunch of computers on there, and I'm like, wow, this reminds me of Steve Jobs. And I'm like, it is Steve Jobs. What?
Hilarious.
That's really cool. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that they did it so quickly too, because I feel like the other one just came out like last year.
Yeah, and I did not even know that this was happening. Like, I was shocked, because I'm like, wasn't there just a movie that came out? Like, I thought there was. So that was interesting. I'm totally going to see it, though.
Oh, for sure. I'll be there day one.
Oh, yeah. So the next question is, would you ever consider writing another book? If so, what genre would it be? This can be nonfiction or fiction.
So I originally wanted to write a children's book before this one. And they're like, well, I think you should probably write this one first. I was like, yeah, I feel like it's a good time to do that. But I really want to do a children's book. Something that's like for kids, that's fun and sort of educational. They could also sort of play into, an animated series. Because, I mean, books now, they need to have something else too, I think, especially for kids. There has to be something else.
Yeah.
Make it, the book could be like an iPad book or something like that, because like people are consuming content differently. So I think trying to find like a fun way that can, just, I don't know, spark kids' creativity. But yeah, that's definitely the next on the to-do list.
Oh, that would be so much fun. Children's books are really entertaining. Like, I know I get sent some children's books now and then. I send them off to my niece and nephew, but they're fun to read, especially because they've changed like significantly over the course of the years since I was like a child even till now, which is crazy. And it's so cool.
Yeah. And I want it to be sort of like really artsy too, like with really cool like pictures and art and that kind of stuff too. Because that like it's just I don't know. That's just it's on the to-do list. But yeah.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, yeah. Artsiness has to be a big factor in books nowadays. I love artsiness.
Yeah.
I'm a stereotypical person that goes to like artsy coffee shops and like I love them. They're so much fun.
I know. It was weird too, like doing all these like book tours like in Barnes and Noble because like I went to school for graphic design. So I used to go and just sit on the floor of Barnes and Noble and drink coffee and just like sort through like design books. I was like, I'm in college or I'm in college. I'm like, I don't have a job. I have nothing. So I'm just sitting here on the floor, like drinking coffee, like reading through these design books and just getting inspiration. And it was great, man. And like, now I'm like, I think I want to go back and start doing that again.
No, totally.
Just like sitting on the floor, people walking around me. I'm like, sorry, don't mind me. I've been here for 4 hours already.
No, so it's no shame. I always sit on the floor at Barnes & Noble, and I feel like Barnes & Noble is one of the like only places I could do it because when I went to the bookstores in England just the other week ago, like I didn't feel like I could sit down on the floors and do that. But at Barnes & Noble, I just always sit down. I just stare at the bookshelves and then like, what do I read next?
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Wow, no, but you're not the only one who sits down there with their coffee. And I do with my friends, so it's like a line of us.
Yeah. Me and my friend used to do that too. It's great.
Oh my gosh.
Then we start getting really rowdy off of the caffeine. I'm like, all right, we'll keep it down.
It's like, we'll keep it down. We'll do this. Yeah. So the next questions are fan questions that I've gotten off of Instagram and Twitter. So the first one is from @SmallMomentsPhotography, and she asks, do you consider yourself a reader?
A reader. I think everybody's a reader, especially when you're consuming content nonstop all day. I mean, I'm nonstop reading Twitter. On Twitter, clicking out to links, reading other things. I do miss reading, and I feel like it's such a huge time commitment as well. If you're doing other things, it's like how do you fit in that time to read? Which is why I love audiobooks because I feel like you're still consuming that content. But yeah, I feel like I want to be a better reader. I'd like to read more, but it's like if I have to do the audiobooks just to get by, I'll do it.
Yeah, no, totally. Because like some people don't like audiobooks because they're like, oh, it's not really reading. It's like actually you are reading. And I, as a reader, definitely think that audiobooks are reading. Like I mark them as read on Goodreads. Goodreads is an amazing app. It's like Facebook book for readers. And so yeah, I totally consider like audiobooks reading, even though some people don't. I'm like, come on, guys, you're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're consuming that content and kind of comprehending what is being said. I was trying. Oh my god, what did I listen to? I'd never had read The Hunger Games, and I was like, I really want to read it, but I don't have time. So I would like walk around my house like with this is so silly. I would have my iPhone like stuck in between like my bra, and I would just be like listening to it on the speaker, like walking around the house, like just doing chores and doing housework. And I think I finished it like really quickly. I was like, I didn't do anything else but listen to this because you get so into it, and it's so fun.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm sorry, my dad just walked over there. I'm like, okay.
Hi.
That's really that. I do that too, but like I stick it in my pants just so we can do it. Okay, so the next question is this one is an interesting one because I always like to know this question as well, and this is from Jess Volker, and she asks, is there anything you would have added to your book that you didn't?
There was a lot of stuff. Even after the final version, I was like, man, I wanted it to be longer, but there was stuff that I took out. And it's hard too, like trying to figure out when is too much, when do you just stop sharing, and I think there's a lot of things that, I would have liked to have put in there too, but it is very personal. And it's one of those things where you have to like sort of make the decision, like, do you keep this to yourself? How will this affect your friends and family? If you say this or that. I also would have loved to put more photos in too, but it was really hard getting photos from the internet to look good in print. So, being a designer, you're like, oh, I got to make sure this is 300 DPI and this and that. So I think that was kind of difficult. And I mean, we really finished this up like to the deadline. I mean, the day before I was making changes and, there's things in there. I'm like, oh, I wish I could have had more time. And I'm like, well, just seeing you had more time, but you waited until the last minute. So I think there's always things that you just sort of have to be like, all right, it's done. Here it is. Maybe for the next rerun or anything like that. But yeah, no, it all worked out.
You can always come out with the second edition of your book later on.
We're gonna need to just hold off on that one for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Children's book first.
Years down the line.
I got a lot more things to do.
Definitely. So the next question is from Panic the Disco, and I'm guessing these are she's. I'm not really sure, so I'm sorry
Yeah.
for he. But what author do you want to meet?
So I actually, this is crazy. At BookCon, was just, I've always been the biggest R.L. Stine fan.
Uh,
And I was at the meetup, and this little girl, I love this story. Like she came up and she was crying because she was so excited to see me. And then I was like, oh my gosh, honey, like I love you. Like, don't cry. And as I'm like giving her a hug, I looked over and saw R.L. Stine. And then I start crying. So this girl's crying and then I'm crying and I'm just like, oh my God. And so I'm freaking out. She's freaking out. And then it was so funny. Like his PR person was like, oh, honey, do you want a picture? I'm like, yeah, I do. Because I mean, growing up, I was just obsessed. Like I loved sort of like his crazy stories. And then that same day I met Judy Blume. So it was just, I
that is amazing.
couldn't believe it. Like, I don't know. I'm still sort of in shock, but yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, hashtag goals. Like, I just,
So it's amazing meeting these people from like your childhood or some people that have really just like affected your life in a great way. Like I know even when I meet some of my new favorite authors, even if they know me from Twitter and stuff, I'm still like, you have changed my life. You guys don't get it. And I remember one of my most I actually went up to an author. I didn't cry, but I was excessively fangirling. I'm like,
yeah.
hi. I think it was Veronica Roth, the author of Divergent. It was the first author I've ever met. It was a few years ago, and I was just like internally like screaming, but I tried to conceal it because I didn't want to make it myself. But it wasn't working. I was like,
I know. I felt so bad. I'm just like, I love your books. I'm so sorry. And I mean, it was just, yeah, you just can't control that sort of feeling of like seeing someone or knowing how much they've impacted your life, forever. So yeah,
definitely.
totally okay to fangirl.
Yeah, because people like I know some of my authors friends. Whenever they have somebody go up to them crying and just saying how much they love their book, it makes their day. It makes them so happy, and like it really like of course fangirl at somebody. Don't like scream in their face, but if you cry, it's totally okay because they love seeing that emotion that they brought to you, and it's really just like a beautiful moment for them.
It is. And I think it was just really amazing to sort of have that feeling because having the same feeling that this girl was having towards meeting me and I'm seeing like, someone who like I really respect, it was sort of like this full circle moment of like, okay, I understand this. And I mean, it really made me even appreciate, the fans and the viewers because it's just so amazing to be able to have that impact and just be able to have that gift of being able to give somebody a laugh or something like that. I don't know, it's really cool.
It's really cool. So you say that you went to BookCon. I'm just sneaking this question in there. How'd you like BookCon?
It was awesome. I mean, I love conventions and it was such a different sort of thing that I mean, I feel like every convention is sort of has that similar thing that everybody is there and they all love sort of the same thing and they're all passionate about something. So, I mean, it definitely had that same feel, but it was cool. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
And, especially going there, having a book and a bunch of my other YouTuber friends were there too. So it was cool. I mean, I feel like we were definitely out of our element because, it was just something very new and I don't know, it was awesome. And I'm just really happy to be able to get to go there too.
Yeah, definitely. I still haven't gone, but they're coming to Chicago next year, and I live in Chicago, so I'm going to fly home from college, so that'll be amazing to go.
No, you'll love it.
I know, I'm super excited. I've been to book conventions, like multiple, like a lot of them, but never to the big one, and I'm like, what am I doing? So definitely next year.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to sneak in this question because I just thought of it. What do you think about your YouTubers' friends' books? Just from your perspective, like, do you think it's like really awesome as well?
I think it is. And I think a lot of, again, a lot of stuff has happened to a lot of YouTubers. And I think being able to tell that story, especially like my friend Joey Graceffa, reading his book, I'm like, I'm your friend. And there's a lot of stuff in here that I was not even aware of. So just being able to get closer to people and sort of be able to understand things that they've gone through, that it might make you understand sort of their YouTube videos or their perspective. And it was great. And it's just, I think that a lot of these YouTubers are super creative and just being able to see them kind of put that creativity to another sort of means of communicating with the world is awesome. And it's just been really cool.
It's really cool because when they first started coming out with books, I'm like, this is an amazing thing. And I keep on thinking that because there's only so much you see when they're in front of the camera. And I feel like writing stuff down can be so much more personal in a sense because you aren't speaking to the camera like right on the spot. You can type it down and it really just shows you who this person is. And it's kind of like they're speaking in your head. So I find that really cool. And I want to pick up Joey's book super badly. I'm actually going to find to go get it today.
You'll love it. It's really good.
Everybody tells me that and I'm like, oh, I cannot wait for this.
Yeah, and it's like I'm reading it and I can hear Joey sort of like just saying these things, and it's great. I mean, he did such a great job with it.
Yeah, and it's also nice because you know what these YouTubers sound like, you know their voice and how they would do it, so it's also like they're speaking in your head, and it's really neat.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think, but
I will definitely. I'll tweet you. I'll tweet Joey. So I probably will review both your books at the same time because I definitely want to do that. So like a combined review.
Yeah. It would be awesome. And I love Joey, and he's just, he's been through so much, and just to see how much he's grown too on YouTube, and just, I don't know, just came into his own, and it's been really cool.
I know. I love his vlogs. They're so much fun.
No, he's great. I love him.
We're just
Joey, I love you. I know, now we're like fangirling.
Oh my God. We love you, Joey. So the next question is from booklover267, and she asks, what is your favorite childhood memory?
Childhood memory. Hey, Jenna.
Yeah.
Do I have any good childhood memories?
I don't know, you're a little older.
Oh, excuse you. She said, oh, I don't know, you're a little older. Let me think, childhood memories. I mean, there's so many, a lot that I forgot. I think what's funny is how like I never really got along with my sisters when I was younger, and now, I mean, I do really remember that. I do remember taking quarters from my sister and then like buying nail polish with it at Walmart. Like I would steal her quarters.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm like, and now I'm like thinking about like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Like that was her hard-earned quarters, and I would take them and buy nail polish. Oh I don't know. I think it's anybody that's younger that's not getting along with like your sisters. You guys are family, and it's going to be hard to find somebody to really understand you. And I don't know. So I love having sisters and growing up, and now, being older, you actually get along, and it's great.
Yeah, everybody since I have a twin sister that you just saw before we went online, Marissa is the same age as me. So right now, everybody always tells us that we'll get along in the future. So I'm waiting for that to happen. Like we get along, we're like polar opposites. And that's really fine because I think that having somebody that's exactly like you can be kind of challenging as well. And they both show their challenges. But I am having complete hopes that when I'm older, we'll be like two peas in a pod again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so hard to like growing up and trying to like find yourself, and also, I mean, especially because you guys are the same age too. I mean, like my sister was young. Well, actually, I'm the oldest, so then my sisters were younger. So Jenna, who's over there on the couch, so she was significantly younger. So going through like high school and college, I wasn't really around, and I didn't really see her. So I don't know. It all gets better.
It all gets better. Yeah, I have four half sisters who are. They're 20 years older than me. Yeah, 20 years older. So it's definitely like that thing that recently actually we finally have become closer because now that I'm older, we have more things to chat about and things to talk about. So it really comes with age.
It does, for sure. And then, I mean, just as you do progress and have more life experiences, I mean, it's always great to have somebody who has already gone through all of this stuff too. Yeah. Because it's like, I remember I would stress about the stupidest things, and now I'm thinking back like, it doesn't even matter.
It's like, why did I do that?
I know. But it's like at the time, that's like life-changing, and it's the worst thing that could ever happen. And I don't know, you just kind of like learn to work through it.
Definitely. So right now we have our last question, and it's actually a really funny one that I thought was hilarious when I saw it. So I praise the person who asked this because that was so funny. So it says from the book ranter, and she asked, if your feet made a funny noise when you walked, what would that noise be?
Oh my gosh. So let's see. There's this Vine that I posted the other day of my friend stabbing a sugar bag with a knife, and we thought that when we stabbed it, it would like explode. Well, nothing happened, but we did it in slow-mo, and then I don't know, the sound that this thing made, like we were just cracking up laughing for probably like a couple hours. And every time I watch it, I still laugh. So yeah, that sound, I don't even know how to make it, but it's just really weird.
Yeah, go check out her Vine for that.
It's there. I'll tweet it to you. But yeah, it's very weird.
That'd be so funny if like every time your feet walked, it would make a noise. Like I would feel very self-conscious. Even when my shoes squeak, I feel like, oh, everybody can hear it.
Even like walking with like high heels on like hardwood floors or something like that. I'm like, I don't like it. I don't want to be known that I'm on my way.
Yeah, I know. It's like in whenever somebody walked, like when I was in high school, whenever somebody walked with high heels on, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a teacher. Like I always felt like
Paranoid. You're like, teacher's coming.
teacher's coming. Gotta get back to like doing class stuff.
So funny.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Justine. This is lovely. Guys, make sure you go pick up her book. It's called iJustine. Also, I love how you did this. The title is so clever.
Also a joke. Everything we just were like joking about it, and it all just ended up working out. Because I always joke, I'm like, man, I need to drop the I. have to do this. So we're like, this is it. So
no, that is so good. When I saw it, I'm like, you know, this is how you do a good title. That makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people know you as iJustine, so this is like a good tribute to that as well.
yeah.
Well, guys, pick up her book. It's on Amazon. It's on in Barnes & Noble. I got it at Barnes & Noble. I actually saw it in a lot of bookstores in England. So if you
really?
England, it's everywhere. Yeah, they were all over the place. So was Joey's.
That's crazy. That's so weird. That's so crazy. I just can't even handle it.
It's like, wow, it's international.
Yay, it's so fun.
Definitely, and if you want to go pick up the audiobook and listen to Justine read her book to you, definitely do that. That would be awesome. So yeah, so thank you so much, Justine. And
thanks for having me. This is great.
Channel. Please, I linked it down below.
Yay. Thank you so much. This is so fun.
No problem. Okay, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.